The clock had already struck midnight, and the city streets had fallen into a heavy, suffocating silence. For Daniel, it was just one last fare. The yellow beams of his headlights struggled to pierce the unnatural mist the world outside is. Window felt cold, distant, and completely abandoned. Then, through the gray haze, he saw her, a solitary figure in a long black dress, standing perfectly still under the glow of a dying lamp. She didn't hail him. She didn't move. But as Daniel pulled over, the rear door opened with a slow. Rimmer creaked that set his teeth on edge. She slid into the back seat without a word. Her skin was a ghostly, translucent white, and her presence brought a sudden, bone-chilling cold into the cabin. Daniel cleared his throat, trying to break the oppressive silence, but the woman simply stared ahead. Her eyes were hollow. Reflecting nothing but the darkness, he gripped the steering wheel until his knuckles turned white. Outside, the fog grew so thick that the trees looked like twisted, reaching claws in the night. The air inside the car grew heavier, smelling of damp earth and old lilies. Every mile felt like an eternity as they delved deeper into the woods. Finally, a pale, slender hand pointed toward a silhouette in the distance. Her voice was a mere whisper, sounding like dry leaves skittering across stone. "Take me to the cemetery," she breathed. Daniel felt a surge of dread, but he was paralyzed by an inexplicable need to obey her request. As the car rolled to a stop at the entrance of the burial grounds, the engine sputtered and died. The silence that followed was deafening. Daniel turned his head to ask for the fare, but his heart stopped. The back seat was empty. The door was slightly ajar, swinging gently in the wind. Confusion warred with terror. There was no way she could have stepped out so quickly without him noticing. He was alone in the dead of night, driven by a morbid curiosity he couldn't control. Daniel stepped out into the freezing air. The iron gates groaned as he pushed them open. The moonlight illuminated rows of moss-covered stones. He followed a trail of fresh, wet footprints that seemed to lead toward the oldest section. He stopped before a weathered headstone. There, etched into the marble, was a ceramic photo of a woman who had just been in his car. His blood ran cold as he read the inscription. She had died exactly 10 years ago this very night. A decade of silence, buried beneath the earth. A sudden, icy gust of wind whipped through the trees. Behind him, a shadow began to stretch and lengthen, coalescing into a familiar, terrifying shape. He felt a freezing breath against his neck. "Thank you for the ride," a voice whispered. Daniel tried to scream, but no sound came out. The next morning, the taxi was found idling by the gate. Empty and cold, Daniel was gone, leaving behind only the fog and the dead.